everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having a fantastic weekend. It's been a busy week here at the channel, but not as busy as we thought it was going to be, because we were going to have a press car this week and then it had to not get reviewed because there was an issue with the car. Namely, the seat was torn. So we spoke to the car company and they're like, we'd rather you didn't film this with a torn seat. So that car didn't actually get reviewed. And then another vehicle that we were due to get in 2 weeks' time, we found out today that the automaker has gone, yeah, we need to do a recall for that. So until that gets fixed, nobody's getting the car to review. So like I say, less busy than we thought it was going to be. But you know what, this week, and I don't want to go full blown into the chicken and garden. If you haven't watched that, go watch it now. It's been a weird week in terms of climate. Midweek, Tuesday, it was really, really hot, like 30 degrees Celsius hot. And then the next day it was super cold and rainy. I am filming it on the day after that, Thursday, and it's still kind of a bit cold. It was very, very foggy down in the valley this morning, and it's been kind of cold, and bitey things are flying around right now because the sun's getting quite low on the horizon. But it's been kind of making me think about that transition in the year where we stop thinking about how to keep ourselves cool and how to keep ourselves warm. And I have a question for you today. It's a very simple one. How do you keep your house warm in winter? Obviously here at the studio, which also happens to be my house, we installed a heat pump system. We bought the house in 2019, so we installed the heat pump. I think we installed the heat pump system either in 2021 or 2022. So the heat pump system replaced the resistive cadet heaters, the in-wall heaters that we had. This house is unusual for a country house in so much as it has no other way of heating. So very often you'll have houses out in the country, they'll have a wood stove, or they'll have maybe a tank in the garden for propane or some other fossil fuel based heating system. And you can also have that for cooking as well. But here at this house, which is one of the reasons why we were drawn to it, is it's 100% electric. There's no fossil fuel heating or cooling. There's no backup power generation other than the truck, of course, which is why we bought our F-150 Lightning. And since we bought the house, we put solar panels on, we installed the heat pumps, and of course we got the F-150 Lightning for the ability to power our home in the event of a power cut, which happens quite frequently out here in the winter. We use a heat pump to heat the majority of our house, and in the wintertime we do have a problem. The upstairs of the house gets very hot, even in winter. The downstairs gets kind of cold in winter, to the point that I'm actually really thinking about turning on some of the cadet heaters that are still wired, actually turning those back on for the winter to heat the kitchen area and the dining area, because they don't have, there's no heat pump in those rooms, so it can get kind of cold in the winter. So I'm thinking about changing that around, but I'm curious how you do it. So for many years, my mother used to heat her house with a coal substitute. It wasn't coal, it was like a coal substitute. And she had a park ray, which is, how do I explain it? Think of a solid fuel fireplace in a house that has a back boiler on it. So the water for the whole house goes through that boiler in the wintertime. In the summertime, there's an electric immersion heater that keeps the house warm, or keeps the water warm. But in the wintertime, there used to be a fossil fuel fire that would heat up the whole house, and there would be radiators around the house and it would heat the house. If my lighting just changed, it's because my truck that the camera is on decided to turn all its lights on, because I have phone as a key and my phone is in my pocket, and my truck just went, oh, you're here, let me turn on the lights. So it probably looks a bit weird, and now they've gone off again. C'est la vie. Anyway, so that's how my mum's house was heated until a couple of years ago, when they replaced it and put in a solid oil heater, which supposedly, according to the UK government, was better in terms of emissions, even though it's still fossil fuel. My mum doesn't own the house, she rents, and so she didn't really have much in the way of a say about how that house was fueled. And while she would have loved a heat pump as well, old British houses, her house was built in the very early 19th century, and it's a worker's cottage, not particularly energy efficient, not particularly suited to a heat pump. And a lot of the people who've looked at that have said, actually, a heat pump in that environment is not very energy efficient and doesn't do very much good. So I want to know roughly where you live. Obviously, don't give me your address, but give me, I live in this part of this country and my winter temperatures get to X, Y, or Z. You can use Fahrenheit, Celsius, heck, you can even use Kelvin if it gives you a little bit of a buzz. And tell me how cold it gets in the winter and how you heat your home. I know a lot of people still use wood fire stoves. Here in the Pacific Northwest, where wood is plentiful, a lot of people use wood stoves. I think one of my neighbours have one, and they use that, and they use properly managed forests to ensure that the trees are replaced regularly for the trees that are felled. Or perhaps you have a different type of heating. Perhaps you have a solar heating system that I haven't talked about yet. I mean, solar water heaters work all year round as long as they're placed properly, right? So maybe you do that. Or maybe you're like me and you have heat pumps, or you have resistive heaters. Let me know how your home is heated and approximately how much it costs you to keep your home warm in winter, and whether you would go for that heating system again. Maybe you would choose an alternative option. But I am very much a heat pump convert. For the most part, I think it's very good. Other than the one or two rooms where there's no outlet, and so therefore it gets cold in that room because there's no air handler in that room. But we could always fix that further down the line. Anyway, thanks in advance, and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them in our Discord chat room, our Patreon page, our YouTube comment section, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help make this channel possible through Patreon and YouTube, covering our bills, paying our team, and making sure that we can remain 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, around $10.08 a year. A massive welcome to our newest supporters: Bree Crockford, CAP, Christian Balal, Everything on a Buy Bagel, Pidge Eon, and Brett Chandler. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your moment of fame. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below for Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations, and we even have a good old-fashioned PO box you can reach us at, the address for which you'll also find below. And if you're in need of some swag, do check out our swag store in the down below. We've got some fantastic content coming right up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you soon. As a reminder, we make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the almighty algorithm thinks you might enjoy this video, but what does it know? We think this one is also well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving.